Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most dramatic, aggressive, and fascinating concepts in the world of corporate finance. It sounds like something out of a spy movie or a medieval war strategy. It is called the poison pill. Imagine you are the king or queen of a castle. This castle represents your company. Inside, you have your treasures, your people, and your legacy. Suddenly, a massive army appears on the horizon. This isn't a friendly visit. It is a hostile invader, a corporate raider, who wants to storm your gates, kick you off the throne, and take control of everything you built. You are outnumbered. You are outgunned. But you have a secret weapon hidden in the basement. A mechanism so toxic, so painful, that if the invader tries to swallow your kingdom, they will get sick and regret it. In the financial world, we don't use archers or boiling oil. We use the shareholder rights plan, colloquially known as the poison pill. By the end of this lecture, you will understand exactly how this mechanism works, why big companies like Netflix and Twitter have used it, and whether it is actually good for the people who own the company, the shareholders. The basics: what is a hostile takeover? Before we can understand the cure, we must understand the disease. The poison pill is a defense against a hostile takeover. Normally, if Company A wants to buy Company B, the board of directors of both companies meet. They drink coffee, they negotiate a price, they shake hands, and they merge. That is a friendly takeover. But what if the board of Company B says, no, we don't want to sell? If Company A is aggressive, they will bypass the board entirely. They go directly to the shareholders, the regular people and institutions who own the stock, and say, hey, I will pay you a premium for your shares. Sell them to me. If they buy enough shares, usually over 50%, they own the company. They can fire the board, fire the CEO, and take total control. This is the nightmare scenario for management. So, how do you stop a rich aggressor from buying shares on the open market? You can't make it illegal for them to buy stock, but you can make it financially devastating for them to do so. Enter the poison pill. Invented in the 1980s by the famous lawyer Martin Lipton, the poison pill is a legal tactic that allows existing shareholders the right to purchase additional shares at a massive discount, effectively diluting the ownership interest of any new, hostile party. The mechanism. How does it work? Let's get into the mechanics. How does this actually happen? Most poison pills work via a mechanism called the flip-in. Here is the step-by-step process. Step 1. To trigger the board of directors passes a rule. They say, if any single person or group buys more than 15% of our company's stock without our permission, the poison pill is activated. That 15% is the trigger line. Step 2. The trap is sprung. Let's say a corporate raider, let's call him Mr. Wolf, buys 15.1% of the company. He trips the wire. The pill is swallowed. Step 3. The flood dilution. Suddenly, every other shareholder except Mr. Wolf is given the right to buy new shares at a 50% discount. Let's use a pizza analogy. Imagine the company is a pizza sliced into 8 pieces. Mr. Wolf manages to buy 2 slices. He owns 25% of the pizza. Suddenly, the poison pill activates. The company magically bakes 100 more pizzas and gives cheap slices to everyone at the table except Mr. Wolf. Now, everyone else has piles of pizza. Mr. Wolf still only has his 2 slices. Previously, his 2 slices were a quarter of the meal. Now, his 2 slices are a tiny fraction of the huge pile of food. His ownership percentage has crashed. The result: to regain control, Mr. Wolf would have to spend billions of dollars buying up all those new shares that were just created. It becomes mathematically impossible or financially stupid to continue the takeover. This is called dilution. It dilutes the power of the attacker while rewarding the loyal shareholders. Real-world case studies. Theory is great, but let's look at history. I have 2 perfect examples for you. One about movies and one about social media. Case study 1. Netflix versus Carl Icahn in 2012. In 2012, Netflix was struggling. Their stock price had dropped, and they were vulnerable. Enter Carl Icahn, a legendary activist investor and corporate raider. He bought 10% of Netflix and hinted he might take over the company to force changes. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings didn't panic. The board immediately adopted a poison pill. They set the trigger at 10%. They effectively said to Icahn, if you buy one more share, we will flood the market with cheap stock for everyone else, and your 10% stake will be worthless. Did it work? Yes. Icahn realized he couldn't take over the company cheaply. He eventually backed off, and years later, he sold his stock for a massive profit. Netflix remained independent and grew into the giant we know today. Case Study 2. Twitter versus Elon Musk in 2022. This is the most famous modern example. In April 2022, Elon Musk offered to buy Twitter. He started buying shares quietly, then threatened to buy the whole company. The Twitter board was initially hostile to the idea. They adopted a poison pill with a 15% trigger. Now here's the nuance. Did the poison pill stop Elon Musk? No. As we know, he owns X, formerly Twitter, today. So did the pill fail? Not exactly. The purpose of a poison pill isn't always to block a deal forever. Sometimes it is used to force a negotiation. By using the pill, the Twitter board prevented Elon from just creeping up and taking control cheaply. They forced him to sit at the negotiating table and pay a premium price, $44 billion. In this case, the pill was a bargaining chip, not a stonewall. The controversy, is it good or bad? Now, you might be thinking, this sounds great. Every company should have this protection. But in the world of finance, nothing is black and white. Poison pills are actually quite controversial. The argument for the pill. Supporters say it protects the company from short-termism. It stops raiders from coming in, stripping the company of its assets, and ruining long-term value. It gives the board of directors time to find a better deal or fix the business themselves. The argument against the pill. Critics, usually large institutional investors, hate them. Why? Because they protect bad management. Imagine a CEO who is doing a terrible job. The stock price is falling, profits are down, and the employees are unhappy. In a free market, a raider should be able to come in, fire that CEO, and fix the company. But if that bad CEO has a poison pill, he can hide behind it. He can say, you can't fire me because you can't buy enough shares. This is called management entrenchment. It acts like a bunker for failing leaders. Because of this, many shareholder advocacy groups like ISS or Glass Lewis generally oppose poison pills unless they are short-term, under 1 year. Conclusion, the nuclear option. So let's wrap this up. The poison pill is the nuclear option of corporate governance. It is a defense strategy that allows companies to dilute a hostile attacker by selling cheap shares to everyone else. It relies on the economic principle of dilution. We've seen it save companies like Netflix, and we've seen it force higher prices in deals like Twitter. But remember, a poison pill is not a solution to a business problem. It is a shield. If the company is failing, a shield will only protect you for so long. Eventually, you have to lower the shield and perform, or the market will find another way to replace you. As you look at financial news, the next time you hear hostile takeover, look for the pill. It's almost always part of the story. Thank you for listening. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the mechanics of the business world.